carnage from the last pass.
Got it.
My name is Tony Palo from T1 Race Development. We're out of Dallas, Texas. We're here at GTR World Cup 2020 at Bradenton Motorsports Park. As usual, we got a handful of GTRs out here. We have one car in the unlimited class. We have 3 76mm turbo cars, 2 68s, 1 58, and then 1 stock turbo car. All these cars have something new for this event. They should all go faster than they have in the past, but we'll see how that goes. GTR World Cup's a little bit different event. We go to World Cup in Maryland, and it's the best of all the classes and all the cars and makes and models. It's a really cool event. There's a lot of diversity. This event is all GTRs. This event is, it's kind of been dubbed a racecation, and it is. You know, we come here in February, where in most people's home it's kind of cold. We get to come to Florida, hang out. It's more like a track rental than a race. It's just like having all your family here. It's a great event. The guys that put it together are great. One of our favorite events of the year for sure. After the event tomorrow, we go to the host hotel. We have an awards dinner. Everybody just hangs out. There's a real good family vibe here. It's a great event. If you haven't been here, you should come next year. So we've got George Stodworth's car out here again this year. We made some changes.
Stodworth from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're down here at Bradenton for the GTR World Cup 2020. And behind me is the Night Fury again. Quite a few changes since World Cup finals in Maryland. The car is basically stripped down to the chassis and now has a proper 25.3 cage, so we're certified to go 650 now. The engine for all that time was always the stock cast Nissan block, a 3.8 liter stock stroke. It's now running a 4.3 liter billet block. The turbos are now 7685s. It's basically an extreme turbo system, so it would have been a Pro 2300. I think they're gonna have to rename this like Pro 2700, I hope, by the time we're done. The fuel system, we've actually switched from M1 to M5. That's a first for me. That was made possible by the new Injector Dynamics 2600s. There's actually 12 2600cc injectors in here, which for me is still mind-blowing. Coming from my rotary days where we try to fit some 1300s in the secondaries. The fuel system, this is a mechanical driven fuel pump. Previously it was driven off the back of the bell housing and was a flex cable to the trunk for a fuel cell. We moved the fuel cell up front. The mechanical fuel pump is now driven up front. That moved a little bit of weight up front. The breather system, the crankcase breather systems come up front. So if you look back in the trunk now, it's basically empty aside from the computer for the TCM. It's a dry sump engine. We added an extra stage this year, so we're doing some scavenging from some new places, which allowed us to move the breather up front. So again, shifting weight balance of the car forward, try to keep that nose down. I don't know if I want the nose down, don't tell anybody. I love the wheelies, but we don't want it to get too much higher. We're gonna end up doing some damage to the front. This still has, as far as driveline, this is still a GR6, it's a Shep Trans. I don't even know what they call stages now, 6 plus or something, but it's his highest build and has his newest ring and pinion gears. I hope it'll stay together for a few more events. It's on the radar that at some point we might go with something different, but for right now, I want to keep going with this stock location, GR6, you know, true GTR, and see how far it can go. As the 330s get down, we had a 290 330 out of this car in Maryland. I think just a 116 60 foot. Again, hoping maybe we'll see a little bit better than that with the 4.3 liter, maybe a little easier to get out of the hole. And actually, over the last turbos, this engine, the power is coming in over 1,000 RPM early. The torque is hugely higher, 1,000, 1,500 earlier. The horsepower, probably a red line, it's not much higher, but the area under the curve is just staggering. We all, learn area under the curve, area under the curve. And you would think we've gone to a larger turbo, it should have worked against us. We should have seen that curve shift to the right. We should have seen less area under the curve, and it's the exact opposite. There's torque for days like we've never seen. It should be good. I'm hoping to see the difference on the track. I'm hoping all my formulas that I use to guesstimate ET based on weight and horsepower, I hope they're just completely wrong now. We figured if we just added the horsepower back to Maryland, and we always go back to Maryland, if you could take that perfect run and you could add the new power, you could add the benefit of all your changes, that, it's like a car I hope could go like 650 or 640, but that's that perfect pass. In the same way it took me 2 years to get the first 6, it could take 2 more years to get that perfect pass. But, to back up with some 680s, 670s would be really pleasing out here. So continuing after transmission, this is still black wheels all around, and we've got as much meat as we can fit in there. Although this is actually a skinny tire car, a 10.5 28, so we've had real good luck with that. These cars are really prone to tire shake, and GR6s don't like tire shake, so we end up with very expensive broken transmissions. So we probably have some ET on the table if we could run that big tire, but for the moment, stock location, skinny tires, those are no longer, to me, an asterisk. That's not something that I'm doing because I want to. It's just, it's working right now, and eventually I'll probably go to a forward-facing turbo. But stock location's getting it. We found a way to get a lot more power into that stock location, and we didn't have to throw away all this beautiful fabrication to shove things around. A really cool thing is we're monitoring the inlet pressure to the turbos. So we're interested to see, going down the track, what type of pressure drop we have. Because it's really, those turbos, they want to be up here. They want to be in the prime time getting all that air. So on the dyno, this car went from, when it was baselined on the 7675s, it was about 2200. I believe it less boost. This made 2319. It's really down for this car. We feel on a max effort run, all in, we should be in the 26 to 2700 horsepower range. We still do have nitrous on tap if it's needed. At the moment, I don't think we're going to get to use it just based on the conditions here. We're not seeing any of the high horsepower cars put a straight pass down yet. So it's a bit of a frustration, I know, for all of them. You know, you want the car to do the best it can, and then you want to tweak and adjust to improve it. It's really hard when you're 1 second off of your historical best, for example. So we're going to go out and put a little 1/8 mile hit on this and see how that goes to start, but we'll be wanting to turn it up right away, and you know, ideally we want to be all in. We want to be 100% duty cycle on the wastegate. We want to use all the nitrous we can and see what can happen with that. So weight-wise, this car is just about 20 pounds heavier than it was back in Maryland. It's actually, for me, that's a wonderful number to hear. We didn't know until we were going to get it back from the chassis shop and see it on the scales. But it went from an 850 cage to a 25.3. We expected the car would gain a lot of weight, but the first cage was put in here back in, I guess, probably 2010. And I'll just say it was done poorly. It's very heavy. They were using things like 2x4 steel in the floor to find attachment points. You know, in their defense, they're probably trying to avoid the dash and find an elegant way to get down the A-pillars and not make a mess of the dash, but we don't have those restrictions now. You know, we'd expect that to be a net gain in weight. I'll just leave that aside for a moment. Billet block, also heavier turbos, switch from a single bottle fire suppression system to a dual bottle. There's probably other things I'm forgetting there. A different circulation pump for the intercooler, probably a little bit heavier, but the net result was a car that was just 20 pounds heavier. So I feel like it's a good exchange. Like, I always want this car to go lighter, lighter, lighter. That's still a goal. Maybe you'll see this car as a 3/4 incarnation someday. I don't know, but to add the safety and add that block and add the weight where it was really necessary. Again, fire suppression system that's better than what we have. That was important weight to add, and to only net gain 20 pounds. I was very pleased with that. I think in the back of my mind, I was hoping it would be lower because I knew the cage was such a better build and there's a lot of attention to detail and weight savings in this round. But 20 pounds, I will take it. So the T1 guys, I just have to say, they are maniacs. If you look in this pit, I think there's something close to 20,000 horsepower of GTRs here. And what's really important about that is most of these cars are brand new builds. You have Shep's next to me, which I know just came out of the oven. It's amazing. I can't wait to see it run. I don't know how, among all of these new cars, new builds, the teething pain you would have with a new car. I mean, can you put the engine in one time and everything just works when you get to the dyno, or do you have to sometimes take some steps backwards? I think they must have had a heck of a lot of luck on their side, but it just speaks to the quality of the team. I can't believe how much time they must have put in. As I studied this car, I spent about an hour just crawling around the car on my hands and knees, looking at welds, and I made the comment to Tony that their electric bill go up because there's just so much TIG welding in here. I mean, the Wade there fabricating must have just been on that pedal, that TIG. I swear he must have been in there for a month just on this car. But then you go down the line, and there's not too much cookie cutter equipment here. These are all custom builds. I don't think there's one under 2,000 horsepower, and it's staggering. I don't know how they pulled it off. And now here at the track, you're going to have this team that has to support this many cars going down that track, running the times that I anticipate they will, and keep them all running. It's amazing. I can't think of a better group of guys to do it. We talk about the T1 family, and I think that's like known. I think anybody watching what they do out here, I think they know it's a family. You get to hear my testimonial of that. I mean, I can't say enough positive about them. I owe them probably weeks of sleep. I feel personally responsible for the loss of sleep, probably loss of family time, personal things that they're setting aside to make all this possible. So I hope by the time you guys edit this, the B-roll is like amazing times from every car in the pits here. Because boy, they worked hard for it and they deserve those results. Racing has a stigma. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of competition that I feel is negative and hostile. And probably right now you can read in the comments below and see some of that. And if not, you'll find another video within a couple clicks. And what I love about this event, there is none of that. I can't think of one person here that goes and talks behind the back of another. It's a family event. This is my 3rd year. We started over at West Palm Beach and we've been at Bradenton for 2 years. And it's really like a reunion to come and see everybody that maybe we haven't seen for a year. We're watching on Facebook, we're watching on videos like these, and just trying to keep up with everybody and the progress and their builds, but this is the culmination of all of that. For different platforms, it's Texas 2K. For us, it's GTR World Cup. This is where we're gonna go all in with our build. If we're given an option that maybe was above our budget, we'll be talked into it for GTR World Cup. Just do it. And I think that's the same as you walk around here. Everybody's all in. Everybody's after a new personal best, but most important, everybody's a family here. It's going up to people and hugs. And well, I think I came into this community. I've had the car since 2009, but the drag racing was more just out in the wild, local track, and that's great. There's camaraderie there. But now coming back to this event every year, I mean, it's an overused word that I said family so much, but I have to emphasize that over and over. And for anyone watching that hasn't come, this is the type of event to come as a role model, as an example of how racers should treat each other. I want to see everybody here break records, even if it's mine. Honestly, it makes me very happy. It's taking the platform forward, and I think we'll see big things in that regard, and I think there'll be a lot of hugs and high fives to give out by the time we get to the awards dinner on Sunday.
So this is the carnage from the last pass. It was dancing a little bit, that's probably why.
It was okay. Let's see it. 750, dude.
Yeah, we're just excited you went to the next round.
750, dude. No. Yeah. With me like that didn't work. Redemption from Maryland. Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, 60 foot. Damn, look at his tree. 119. Dude,
y'all put on a show for damn sure.
you could hear the power of his car next to me. It was.
That was a race, dude.
It was something. I was expecting him to come popping by me at any moment. It was really. Look at me shaking.
He was trying to give you a high five at the end. He was trying to give you a high five at the end.
Keep over in your lane, baby.
He was right next to you. It wasn't just side by side. He was right there.
Oh my goodness, so here we are on World Cup Finals Day 2, and I've just come back from my personal best ET and speed. I'm probably going to get them wrong, but I believe it was a 672. It's super important to me because we believe the car ran a 674 back in Maryland, and I've just wanted redemption. I just wanted to get back that slip, so I think we did it. The mile per hour, I'm probably going to get wrong. I believe it was 216 or somewhere in that area. Well, 218, we'll go with 218. So I have this personal goal to get to 220, so it's just knocking there. It's been an amazing weekend. We had one pass and only one pass for my test, and the car gave us the 6990. And I thought, what a great start, what a foundation. Next time out, a little more boost. I think we started at 53 pounds on a setup that we think can go to 80, maybe more. Next time out went to 59. It ran a maybe it was a 687. It's the most violent ride I've ever taken in a car. I felt overall, you know, integrate the run. It was basically straight. It didn't get out of the groove, and for me that's most important. And never was it violently pulling one way, but I was working it more than I ever have, ever. And this car needs an aggressive touch. So it looks like I'm overdriving it, but it's just, on those runs, it's what it needs to keep it off the wall. The next run, maybe it was a 682. Maybe that was the 216. And I didn't think it was a particularly great pass. The 60 foot was weak, and it was. I had just finished a 115 60 foot with some tires somewhere back here that the tires came apart on the launch. The next 680, the car went relatively straight. It felt really nice. I could tell the 60 foot wasn't there. It was a 120, but I could tell the trap speed was up. Just felt that nice little kick in the back half, and that was, I believe, the 216. So the trend's coming. I think Tony told me at that time it was only 59 pounds, so it's like this is a really nice trend. So next up, finals. I should say too, I had a buy for semifinals, and we decided we were going to send it, which has just been the right choice. We got to get the data. We're going to take that boost up a little bit each time. And in the finals, a little more power. I don't know how much. That's how he puts it in. I'm going to drive it. I have complete trust in the team. They're watching the track. There's times they'll come and tap on my window and tell me to go to a different map. And I know they're watching. They're looking out for me. If the track's not going to take what he's dialed in, he's going to dial me down right at the line. So I go up there with the confidence. I'm going to run all in, whatever Tony's given me. Last year, at this event, I was up against Giddy and had a pass that would have been the winner, except that I red lit very, very badly. And I decided very consciously I am not going to red light. I am going to wait till the third amber is like screaming at me before I drop it. And I let the right lane go ahead of me. Made me a little nervous. I let off the button and it felt, you know, better than the last 60 foot, which was very poor. And then it got in its groove. I started pulling on the 2-3 shift, shot past him. But after that, I hear just, you know, it's the Night Fury, but I heard this sound next to me. Oh my goodness gracious, he's gonna come around me. It really sounded like he was going to. And I guess that had been my fourth gear shift, and that's when things get very real on the back half of that car. Yeah, no looking back, the sound disappeared, and again, I don't know the time, and I now have this tradition, I started, but I'm not looking at the slip at the booth. It felt okay. And then I was like, well, wait a minute, I think I just won the GTR World Cup. You know, for the kid that doesn't win anything, it's like a really big deal. I mean, I have like computer trophies, like computer programming as a kid in high school. That's not cool, by the way. So that reality hit right at that moment, but I had no idea what I ran. And also, it's a team member I was racing against, so I got out and gave him a big hug. You know, would have had anybody else next to me, but everybody here's a brother, so it's sort of bittersweet, a victory here. But to come down and everyone's waiting, I'm like, well, it's probably just because of the victory. But they're like, yeah, look at the slip, and I'm like, redemption. Yeah, Jason Miller, it took a lot of work to get that slip back. from that dark scoreboard. So redemption. So Maryland's behind me. We're looking forward, and that was a low 60 psi pass. Tony feels it's got 80 in it. That was no nitrous yet. Interestingly, we're carrying the bottle full in there. It's heated. The battery to heat it's in there. So we're carrying all this extra weight. I fully plan if the track has it in it, all the boost, all the nitrous, if it'll take it. So, or not. If the conditions aren't there and they tell me not to run, I'm super happy. I'm ready to go to Texas 2K and back it up again. It's like a save point in the video game. I've made it to level 6.7. So if I run some 6.8s, I get to go back to 6.7. So it's a new foundation, and to start 2020 this way, it's awesome. So excited.
So we've also got a new car that we built for John Shepard. He had his street car that ran consistent 760s, and that one's being turned back to full street use. Got a whole new car. It's an outlaw car. It's one-piece front end. It's got all the stuff. The big front mount turbos on methanol, all Motec electronics, PDM, dash, ECU. So we've got a 3.8 liter engine in Shep's car. Our basic stage 6 engine, which is tried and true. The car made 1950 at like 47 pounds of boost, which for a brand new car, that was all we needed to do for right now. It's got ID 2600 injectors, primary and secondary. It's got our mechanical fuel pump set up. It's running on the M1 methanol. The turbos are 84 millimeter, it's a Borg 1 or something or other. It's the Penske suspension all the way around. It's got our GT1R Bellic wheels, 15-inch rear, 17-inch front, our drag brakes on it. It's literally, Shep hadn't even seen the car in person before we got to this event. So he made a pass yesterday, just went through a couple gears. Everything seems fine, so we'll see what it does today. We're excited about that one.
John Shepard, it's day 2 World Cup, right before the finals. Our first pass, we just wanted to get just a 60-foot hit, maybe a 1-2 shift, and never sat in a car before, so it was a little intimidating. The goal was to get to the 8th mile. I got close to the 8th mile, it kind of drifted, so I let off a little bit. Got back in to get a log, and surprisingly, it was 7.8 at 20 or at 190. I was like, okay, this is really low boost. This is intense. So we just moved right to the final eliminations, and we turned it up a little bit. Tony and I had a little map discussion. He wanted it to higher, and we compromised, so I kind of hit it in the middle, and it stuck perfect. First full pass down the track, 717 at 201. So I'm ecstatic with that. And there's a lot left in the car. It's 48 pounds of boost, and we expect probably 70 plus that it'll be happy at. And it's just me trying to get the comfort to do that right now. So we're gonna walk it up a little bit and see how it goes. To clear the record, this is not my street car. It's silver with the same wheels, but it's not the same car. It's a whole new animal that we have to learn. The street car was just nice and just comfortable. You just get in, close the door. Not a lot of drama, not a lot of noise, no vibrations. You didn't really feel the rawness of something like this. But we got to a point where that car really wouldn't go much quicker safely. And it's my first GTR that I bought, 2011. I bought it in 2010. Never expected to even go 7th in the car, but it just progressed to that point. And it ran many 7-second passes without a stone chip on the car, so I decided we either have to stop or step it up, and because everybody in the class is running methanol now and Lexan, and I couldn't do it to the car. It was still my pride and joy. It only has 4,000 miles on it, so that car retired at Texas 2K19. The last pass was its best pass ever, 760, 185 I believe. 5 years on the T1 motor. It was just amazing. So we parked the car. It's just being refreshed. It's going to stay a street car exactly like it was, air conditioning, full interior, and now I can just concentrate on this, and there's no limits, so whatever we want to do, there's no excuses. If I don't go fast, it's on me. So first and foremost, again, I want to thank Tony and all the guys, they're amazing. I didn't expect to even, I told Tony, if it runs a 10, I'm packing. He's like, well, I'm not. He's like, so, yeah, they're amazing. The goal for the car really is to run 690s. I don't have an ambition to be the fastest. I just wanted to be one of the guys running 6s. It's a little hard being a drag racer all my life to not get that and just stay where you're at ever. And so today was really the fastest and quickest I've been since 2006. The Eagle Talon I used to run ran 770 at 194, went way back then. Very sketchy, but so it's cool to see this, 14 years later, to finally eclipse that time in ET. Yeah, I recall back in 2010 it was, I believe we started doing these, just first gear upgrades. We started seeing what broke. I remember the 1,000 horsepower number that was, oh, we're never gonna hit it. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I can't believe we're having this. And to look back at that now, it's almost laughable. To where, you get numb to even 2,000 horsepower. It's amazing how things progressed and how we can make 3,000 start to become reliable, which 2,000 becomes more reliable, and 1,000 becomes cookie cutter, piece of cake. And we've done thousands of these units, so we learn and learn and learn and learn, to the point where they're progressing. I mean, there's going to be a limit at some point. We're working with factory technology. It was a round about 500 horsepower tranny, and to go to whatever they're at now, who even really knows what power they're at the track, maybe 3,000 now. So it's a testament to Datsun. We've been working with Datsun since the beginning. I've never veered, never switched companies. The biggest link now is the ring and pinions are starting to become a sore subject, weak point, but we're running a factory OEM ring and pinion. But we do have billet ones now. They were being tested, and the feedback so far has been awesome. So it's gonna be the new thing to make them more reliable, and next year we won't have ring and pinion problems. That's the goal.
We've got Christine Dodworth's car out here again. We made some more changes to it. We got about 400 pounds out of it since the last race, so it's right about the 3,600 pound minimum weight for the 68mm class. It also has the Zona 9569S. It's a 3.8 liter engine, AMS carbon intake, ID 2600 primary and secondary injectors, our mechanical fuel pump setup. That car made about 1950 at about 48 pounds of boost. It went a 741 at 192 and change yesterday, so that's a new best for her. So we're excited about that. We'll see if we can get a couple more tenths out of that one and see how it does.
Dodworth. It's a T1 built 3.8 liter engine. It has ETS Pro 68s on it. It's making almost 2,000 horsepower. It runs on a Motec, and it's tuned by Tony Palo. Obviously, with more horsepower, it gets a little squirrely on the track. For sure, you get a little bit of this. So, like, going down that, me personally, what I do, if I feel like it's going straight and I have control, I stay in it. Last time I ran was at import versus domestic in Maryland, and my best there was 765, about 185 mile per hour. And today, GTR World Cup, I ran a 741 at 192 miles per hour. So that's pretty badass, for me at least. So it's super exciting. I can't wait to see what it does this weekend.
The other 76mm car, we got Michael Hurley's car. It's a front mount turbo setup, it's an ETS turbo setup with 7685s on it. It's a 4.3 liter engine from us. It's got ID 2600 primary and secondary injectors. Our mechanical fuel pump setup, that one's on M1 methanol. So his car basically has no weight reduction. It's about 4,100 pounds. And his best ET so far is 7.1 at 203. He went a 7.04 at 206 yesterday, completely lifting the throttle in second gear. So we'll see. We never really expected a 6 out of that car at what it weighs, but it makes a lot of power. It made 2350 at about 58 pounds of boost. I think I saw 67 pounds of boost yesterday. So it's in the 2,500 horsepower range.
Hi, my name is Michael Hurley. I've been with T1 Race Development not too long now. The fastest it's went so far, actually quickest, was at Import versus Domestic in November. Ran a 714 at 203, but earlier today I ran a 7.4, got a little squirrely, let out, but actually got my best trap speed. It was 206.2. We started at just stock stuff. Actually, I started with 22-inch rims on it with really nothing done to it. Went to some 1/8 of a mile races. This is probably like 6 or 7 years ago, you know, with Tony and the team. Pretty much love coming here. Wade, Brandon, Terrence, Knox, all the guys. Just it's a nice environment that they provide. They work hard on the cars. I mean, it's just amazing what they do. Just getting the full fleet of cars here, 10 to 12 cars at an event, making sure everything's prepped right. They go through a whole list of everything, making sure I'm safe going down the track. And that's, I mean, of course, I want to have fun and go fast, but the most important thing is that I'm safe and, you know, come back to my family and everything. So love the guys at T1 Race Development for sure. My friend George Dodworth told me to send my car down there. I finally listened to him, you know, and I think it's working out pretty well.
So we also have Maurice Stanley's car out here. We were out here on Friday to do some testing. Maurice made a pass, the car left beautifully, went at 120 60 foot, shifted in second, and broke the ring and pinion. So this car, I think we have about 20 passes or so in this transmission. And it's a stock ring and pinion, so they're used, so you know nobody knows the life of them prior to that. But it's done for the weekend, so we'll get it fixed, have it back out at TX2K. So Maurice's car, it's a fresh build. You might recognize the turbo setup. It's from my car before I tore it apart. The car made about 2,200 horsepower. The first quarter-mile passes he made in the car was at MIR World Cup in Maryland, and he went a 690 out there. So first event in the car, Car runs a 690. It's been parked since then, so this was the next pass out. But looking forward to bettering that time a little bit. We've got Mitch Michael's car out here in the 58mm turbo class. He's been very competitive in prior years with a stock manifold 58mm setup, and everybody's stepping it up, so we figured it was time to put something a little bigger on it. So we've got some precision 58mm turbos on it. It's got ETS cast exhaust manifolds. This one's still a 3.8 liter engine. Runs our new Injector Dynamics brushless fuel pump. This is actually the first big power GTR car we've had it on. So it's making a little bit over 1,600 horsepower on E98 on a single fuel pump. It's pretty cool. Our best ET so far with Mitch's car, I think, is a 771 or 778 or something like that. He made a test pass yesterday off the trailer, back down a little bit, and it went 778 or 781. So, I mean, it's right there already. So we've got some more, so that's exciting. Hoping maybe get a 60 out of it this weekend. So we got another one out here, Chris Firestone's car. That car won TX2K 19 GTR Class 3, which is the 68mm class. It had 66mm turbos on it at that time. It went 760 at I think 184 or so. So we've stepped it up, put a proper cage in it. It's on methanol now. It's on the new Zona 9569S turbos. It made 2,050 horsepower and about 50 pounds of boost. So we're up about 500 horsepower from when it went 760. So the minimum weight for this class is 3,600 pounds. So we don't have the carbon doors on it or anything. We had to put some weight back in it. We have literally had to put ballast in it. So at the other events, we can take about 200 more pounds out of it. So we're really excited for that thing. It has the potential for a very low 7 and maybe if all the stars line, a high 6. We built a car, I guess, almost a couple years ago at this point. It's called Project Ghost. It's a 2017 GTR that was kind of built to be the ultimate street package. Well, the ultimate street package for somebody that wants way too much power for the street. The car made 2,200 horsepower. It's got an ETS Pro 2300 turbo kit on it, 4.3 liter billet block, no weight reduction. It's 4,100 pounds. The customer that we built it for didn't really do anything with it. He was a car collector. He had a bunch of cars. It sat for a long time. He ended up selling it. Alan bought it and was bringing it out here and doing what it was built to do. So he had a couple passes yesterday where the car got a little squirrely and he had to get out of it, but definitely shows promise. It's made 58 pounds of boost on the last log. It went a 127 60 foot, so that car should run probably 760 or so. That's exciting for a real street car. So if anybody's been following my car and what's been going on with it, we turned it into a full tube frame, rear wheel drive drag car. Still the GTR body, still GTR wheelbase. It's gonna look just like all the rest of these cars, but underneath it's all tube frame. It was at the chassis shop for about a year. We got it back and it's been sitting in the shop because we've been busy building these things, but we're pretty much caught up on all these. And so between now and 2K, we'll have a little bit more stuff to do, and then we're really going to be able to focus on that. We'll see. I think for sure we should be able to have it at this event next year. So everything that we learn on these cars applies to the Pro car. So we're kind of starting from scratch in some regards. I've never worked with this transmission or this torque converter. Nobody's done an IRS rear suspension car like this. So there's going to be some challenges. The good news is we've got a solid engine program. It'll have our 4.3 liter engine in it. I haven't decided what turbos it's going to have yet, but it'll be something from Zona. And it's, you know, I'll bring it out initially 2,500 horsepower or so, get things sorted, and then we'll turn it up from there. Ultimately, I'd like to see a 5-second pass out of it. So, quick recap from our weekend. I guess just going down the line. George's car, 694, 685, 4 something, and then 672. We're gonna go one more time. So, see if we can keep getting it faster. Chef's car, brand new build. First time down the track, runs 7.8, 7.9, and then runs a 7.1, 2.01, I think. So hopefully one more attempt at that one and get it in the 6s. That's pretty cool for 3 passes. Chris Firestone's car, 740, with him lifting a little bit early. Fortunately, it broke a turbo, so that one didn't get any more passes. Maurice's car broke the ring and pinion on his first hit, went a 120 60 foot, and then broke. So he was out. Michael Hurley's car, what do you got, 740. Then he had a trans issue that shut it down early and came back on, went 209 in the quarter. That car's still, I think, 3,900 pounds, making 80 pounds of boost on that pass, so it's making some power. Next pass, something broke in the trans on that car. Then we got Christine's car, ran, I think, 2 7.5s and a 7.4. And then I think it was in the semis, trans wouldn't shift into 4th. We had a 4th gear synchro issue. So that was done. Alan's car, Project Ghost. First time out at the racetrack since it's been built. Went 2 7.7s, I believe. That car was built when the TCM support for the 2017 TCM was minimal. We didn't have very much control. We couldn't raise clutch pressure yet, which is a problem with the power that car makes. It's right on edge. I've got to limit torque a little bit. Also, the launch limiter didn't get raised. So these cars have a consecutive launch limiter. You launch it too many times without driving far enough, and then the TCM will shut you down to save parts. So unfortunately, we ran into that in the finals. So we had it on the tree, car went a 129.60 foot, pretty good chance at winning, and TCM shut it down. So we're gonna have to fix that. Then we had Mitch Michaels' car in the 58mm turbo class. 7:67, I think, was his best time. New personal best for him. Fastest car in that class this weekend. Unfortunately, he got a red light in the first round, or second round, so he's done for the weekend. So then we had Osier's car, the Miami blue car from Miami Dyno Room. His car is fairly similar to George's car in build, except his is a 3.8 liter engine from us. It's got 76mm turbos, but they're front mounted instead of stock location. The car runs our complete methanol fuel system, Motec electronics. It's same recipe as all the rest of our cars. That car is on 28-inch tires. It went 687 in Maryland at World Cup Finals. That was actually the first of our few cars to run 6s in Maryland. So Osier's weekend was cut a little bit short in Maryland. We had a coolant pressure issue. Decided, let's be safe. We got a 6. He's happy. Took it back, redid some of the turbo kit. It's got an air-to-water intercooler now. It's got our one-piece front end on it. Other than that, it's basically the same as it ran last time. Came back out, went 7.1 and a 7.0. So right back where it was. It wasn't turned up all the way. So that car should be back in the 6s again really soon. So all in all, I think it was a pretty good weekend. Go home with the cup and a few trophies, and everybody's happy.